The New Orleans Saints should be going after Jaire Alexander once he becomes available for the Green Bay Packers. We got all that and a little bit of lagniappe for you on today's episode of Locked On Saints.
You are Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? I am your host, your friend, Ross Jackson, New Orleans native, your New Orleans Saints expert and credentialed member of the media covering those New Orleans Saints as a Saints beat writer over at LouisianaSports.net. On today's episode of Locked On Saints, we're taking a look ahead to mandatory minicamp, what it is that Nick Underhill and I want to learn from the New Orleans Saints, including the complicated conversation around quarterback as it continues to unfold. We'll take a look at the pursuit of Gabe Davis, the wide receiver that's set to visit with the New Orleans Saints, why he is or wouldn't be a good addition for New Orleans. And we're going to kick everything off with the biggest name around the NFL right now that is now available, Jaire Alexander, why the New Orleans Saints should consider him, but why they should do so with caution. We got that all coming up for you on today's episode as we're joined from Nick Underhill of NewOrleans.football. We appreciate you very much. As always, whether it's your first time or your next time being here with us this time, making us your first listen and being in every day or here on the show, which is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's very rare that at this point in the offseason, a big name becomes available that can make all 32 teams, or 31 teams, considering he was cut from one of them, better the moment that he joined a roster. But for how long is the question? Can Jaire Alexander be trusted, and why the New Orleans Saints should go after him? Here's where Nick Underhill and I landed on that very conversation.
Yeah, he's interesting, man. He's missed a lot of time the last couple of years, and that's something that I think you really have to factor into it. And I think it would really come down to a cost equation with him. You can get him at the right price. I think it would make sense. Some of these guys, though, I feel like they come to the realization of like what they're worth and where they're at in their career, and they try to make these changes maybe a little bit too late. And I think at that position in particular, like it becomes a big deal. And if you aren't ahead of losing a step at that spot and you aren't preparing for it, like trying to turn and shadow and run and be, elastic and all this stuff, I think it becomes hard to catch up on it. I don't know exactly where he's at in his career. I'm a little bit concerned about the games missed. When he's on the field, he looks pretty good, but there's also like a little bit of from afar, even just kind of, you hear little things about like his attitude. There was that game where he appointed himself a captain one time. There's a couple, there's a couple little red flags here, but like as a player at the right price, at the position, absolutely, I think there's a need. You just have to make sure all these other little things are together. And I wouldn't want the Saints to end up in a spot chasing a cornerback that's kind of beyond maybe the healthy days, that has a little bit of, off-field ruffles when they just went through that exact situation and kind of got stuck at the end of it. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I think all the questions with that is all the stuff we can't see. I think the stuff we can see, good player. When he's on the field, he still looks great.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations too, to where like I don't think people realize how accurate the Marshawn Lattimore comparisons really are when it comes to where Jaire Alexander is. It's not just about the stuff on the field, like you mentioned. I do think that there's a value in, like, if I was given sort of the scale of like, would you rather sign Jaire Alexander or trade for Jalen Ramsey, for instance? Like if I'm that desperate as a team, which I don't think the Saints are necessarily in that position, but they're always looking to upgrade positions and things like that. They brought in Asante Samuel Jr. for a visit, so on and so forth. And so like if I was in that position, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards the Jaire Alexander conversation, just because you have a little bit more control in that situation, right? It brings me back to last year when they signed Chase Young and they put the performance incentive, or rather not the performance incentives, the playing time incentives on his deal. Gives you a little bit of control over that situation, as opposed to inheriting a contract that somebody else negotiated, which would be the Jalen Ramsey situation. So I think that maybe that's where I kind of land on this too, to where like really, really strong player, good player, great fit, could be your top number one lockdown corner on the outside if he's on the field, but you got to be ready to safeguard yourself in case he's not able to be on the field.
Yeah, if you can protect yourself and do the incentives and you get him on that type of contract where he's going out there, he has to earn some of it. Absolutely. Like, and like you said, you don't have to trade to get him. So I would prefer that avenue too, if you have to go that way with it. So I agree 100% on both those. You know, it's interesting with like him and Jalen. I think both of them kind of end up in weird situations in their career because they got paid way more money than they should have where they were at in their career. And then you end up in kind of a perilous situation. But I did see this like great tweet earlier from Anthony DeBonia. I believe that's how you say his last name. He said, former Eagles cornerback Isaiah Rodgers was suspended for an entire season and still has somehow played 13 more regular season games than Jaire Alexander has since 2021. I mean, he's missed a decent amount of time, 2 very serious injuries, but you know, it is part of it. So I think, I think you just laid it out right there. If you can get him at the right price and you set it up so he's earning it and you are protected, I'm all for it. I just wouldn't want to go in there where it's just like, hey, we're going to compete against 3 other teams. We're going to give him the best contract and he's going to end up here. I wouldn't want to acquire him like through that type of method.
Yeah, you can't get in a what do you call it? You can't get in kind of like a bargaining war with other teams and all this stuff. Like you got to stay away from that in this situation. And like the Saints aren't a cornerback away, right? So like overpaying for the position or overpaying for that particular player also wouldn't make sense. So
hold on,
a signing would have to be one there.
Let me ask you that then. Would you want them to try to be the most competitive team possible? Like, is this even a move they should be dipping their toe in the water for? Like, are you for trying to build the best defense, trying to win, or just do enough and kind of try to get, you know, maybe be in position to evaluate Klubnik versus Shough next year? Like, what should they be trying to do?
Yeah, I think they should be in a situation of trying to build what is the most competitive team that they can, but doing it in a way that's not going to hamstring them in the future. So overpaying for the position when you're not a cornerback away, not wise. Getting somebody at a cost-effective rate that can help you at the position and would obviously make your position, make that position stronger. That I think is worth doing.
I'm so torn on it, man. Like it's just, and it's the great on scene. It's the great on scene. Like, if you tell me one of these 2 quarterbacks is actually good and they can win some games with them, yeah, I'm all for it. Build it out, make it better, try to win and be exciting. But if you're telling me they aren't going to be good and the quarterback isn't going to be good, I'm just kind of like, Adam, just go ahead with it, roll that way. I can see either way with it. But I guess if the QB stinks, it probably doesn't matter who's a corner because you're not going to win too many games anyhow.
Right. You're not that corner away, right? You're not going to be able to overcome that. I think that like the other thing to keep in mind here too is that visit with Asante Samuel Jr. They had Asante Samuel Jr. and he had the neck procedure earlier this offseason. He's got a recheck, if you will, in July. If he's healthy, and then with the Brandon Staley connection being in Brandon Staley's initial draft class with the Los Angeles Chargers, maybe that's a more cost-effective route to go when the bidding war starts with Jaire Alexander.
I'm for kind of, I mean, I guess as I think about it, I'm for whatever gets Alante in the best position to succeed. And if that's kind of just putting him on the inside and he can settle in there, that's great. Even with Asante Samuel, like he's not a great run defender. So when you're in your base defense, maybe Alante could still be on the outside and move to the inside and you're still covered out there a little bit. So, but whatever allows him to settle in and maybe become the playmaker that he could be, that we think he's probably going to be, I still have belief there. I don't know about you. I still think that if you put him on the inside in the slot, he can be this really dynamic playmaker. We saw it early on last season. There was a stat, and I think it might have been Sports Info Solutions that like track dynamic plays, and it was like tackles for a loss, pressures, sacks, just all these different things. Alante was leading the league in it while he was playing in the slot. Then he got kicked to the outside. It kind of took some of that away. I think in that position where he can kind of just be a playmaker, I think that's what makes him the best he can be. I think that makes the Saints the best team they can be. And look, man, like not supposed to like pull for players or whatever, but like Alante in a contract year, I want him to feel like he got the best shot to prove himself and make the money that he could make. You know, it's a life-changing opportunity for him. And I hope he gets to play in the position where I think he's at his absolute best. Now, I know he's preparing for both. He feels good at both, but I think if you can keep him more focused on that interior role, he's going to be the best player he can be.
Coming up next, the pursuit of wide receiver Gabe Davis actually makes a lot of sense for New Orleans, but maybe not for what you might think. We got that coming up for you as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Saints is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. The New Orleans Saints have some money to spend, but where they invest it and how they keep track of their finances is what's going to lead to success in the future. And the same goes for you. You might have some money to spend. Well, Monarch Money helps you make the right decisions with that extra financial freedom that you might have, so that you can stop just managing your money and instead start building wealth. Everything from tracking your spending to watching over your accounts, and of course, even watching your investments, placing those investments and managing those investments. You can do it all in one place with Monarch Money. That way you don't have to juggle 5 different apps on your phone like I used to before I switched over to Monarch Money myself. So go and check them out today. It's a perfect way to maintain control of your finances as you move forward. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. All right, family, the New Orleans Saints have a visit set with Gabe Davis, according to reports. The former Buffalo Bills wide receiver, former Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. And Nick and I are kind of on the same page here. It makes a lot of sense that the Saints would be interested, but it is important to remain realistic about what the contribution might actually look like.
I'm a fan of it. I mean, honestly, he's going to come in and cost the league minimum. He has $11.5 million guaranteed from Jacksonville. There's offsets on it, which just basically means unless someone's going to pay him $12 million, he's getting the league minimum. No one's paying him $12 million. So whoever he signs with, it's going to be for the league minimum. I think he fits that profile, 6'2", 225, a little bit bigger guy, can theoretically maybe give you some elements that you don't currently have with your team. I know a lot of stuff he did with Buffalo was more downfield. I think the Saints probably have that covered a little bit, but like a big guy that can make plays down the field is great. Find out what he can do over the middle. I think the big maybe piece of apprehension would be the knee injury, and kind of what I'm hearing, and I'm not positive about this, like just rumors right now I'm hearing, like I think it's like October probably when he's going to be ready to play back at 100%. But look, if you can get him on your team, starts the season on IR or something like that, you got him tucked away. I'm for it, man. Like he's going to be a league minimum player. He's probably better than one of the guys you have. If he's not, you get him in the building, you find out, and you cut him. I mean, I think it's really simple here. I'm for it. You know, the funniest thing I think is whenever the Saints sign someone, the reaction is always like, well, not that guy. Why would they sign him? And it's like, yo, there's 90 people on the roster right now. Right. Like you're evaluating him versus like, and look, he's hurt, so he probably won't be on the field, but you'd be evaluating him against like, man, I don't even want to throw a name out there because I don't want to disrespect him, but it's like it gets like Chris Tyree. Like, is he better than Chris Tyree? It's not. Is he better than Chris Olave? Like, no, it's the other Chris, and or not even Chris Tyree. Whoever the 90th guy on the team is right now, is
it's not even his position.
Yes, like they aren't all going to be all pros. You know what I mean? Like you got to have some guys that are just coming in to compete. So yeah, I'd be for it.
Yeah, I think one of the places where he brings the most value, look, 53.7% catch rate over the course of his career. There's obvious concern there. And he's not necessarily the biggest like contested catch guy, but also hasn't been in that position a lot. Like you said, a lot of his work was downfield over with Buffalo, but he had some like playoff games that he took over. He's got playoff experience, which I think is valuable. But the other place where I think that he helps you is at 225. He's also a solid run blocker. And we know this is a team with Kellen Moore that's going to want to run the football. And so being able to have one of those good perimeter blockers or blockers on the perimeter that kind of extends your point of attack out from your offensive line, put him in the slot, opens up your offensive line a little bit more, put him on the outside, be able to run in those ways. I think that's one of those things that would be able to help you too. But what the Saints would have to do in that case is if they signed him and then he gets back out on the field, they would have to make sure that he's put in a situation to where he doesn't turn into like the Keith Kirkwood giveaway, right? Or the Lynn Bowden giveaway, like that whole thing. Like they would absolutely have to avoid that with him for sure. But I think he would be a value in that area of the game.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, man. Like they need that element too in their offense right now. And it's something that, I don't know, on paper, we'll see. Maybe Chris proves us wrong. Maybe Rashid proves us wrong. But like right now, that's definitely something that's lacking big time in their offense. So yeah, that blocking element. And I think, you know, looking at Lynn Bowden and Keith Kirkwood, like I think he's a little bit more diversified than them. So like even if you just give him a little bit in the pass game and you are a plus run blocker, there's a huge need, I think, for that specifically in on this team. So yeah, that's a great point. You won that segment with that.
we got that. I got that point.
Get reality on here. Yeah.
The crossovers are cooking. We're cooking. The other free agent that's really interesting to me is linebacker Jermaine Pratt. Now, he's not a name that a lot of people are going to feel like super great about or anything like that because he's not like this he's not as decorated a linebacker as, let's say, a CJ Mosley is and everything like that. So I get that. But when you are a team that was I'm just going to say in the top 7, I can't remember what number they were, but in the top 7 of missed tackles last year, and that was 31st against the run last year, getting another linebacker with experience, I think, does have some value. The Saints have Demario Davis, they have Pete Werner, and then after that, they've got a bunch of guys with 1 or 2 starts at the position. So there could be value in bringing in some more experience at the position. He feels like somebody that could potentially fit that wouldn't necessarily break the bank for you.
Yeah, look, I like the idea of it. And if you can shore up that area of the game, I'm all for it. It's interesting, man. Like, I kind of low key feel good about their linebackers, but then I also don't at the same time. And I think so much of it resides on Stutzman right now.
Yeah.
I really, really like him. Like, he has flashed to me maybe more than anybody on the defense in these camps so far. He had the one pass breakup to Cedric Wilson on. It was the second OTA we were at. There was a crazy throw from Shough up the sideline. He's way down the field. I mean, that was probably a good 20 yards down the field, 15 maybe, all the way over to the sideline. Breaks up a pass to a wide receiver. Looked really good there. But we're talking about pass defense right now, and like, I don't know what their run defense is going to look like. And, if you can get some more guys involved in that, I'm all for it. And really, with the way that this defense is, like, it's not the Patriots old school 3-4 run defense where Vince Wilfork's, going to eat everybody up and all the linebackers are going to flow. But like, a little bit, it's not, it's somewhat predicated on that, like, kind of creating space for linebackers to make plays. And, I think he's somebody that would, kind of fit in that. Like, where it differs is like, the old school 3-4s with like 2 gap, they're gap and a half, where it's kind of, you're watching one and have like a slight responsibility on the one behind you. But it's still, like, I think important to have linebackers that can make plays there, especially within this. And he's somebody that could flow a little bit, but like, I don't know what Jalen Ford is right now. I don't really know what Stutzman is right now. I mean, there's a couple things that, like, I'm optimistic about that group, but I'm also incredibly pessimistic at the same time. So I don't know where I fall on it, honestly.
Coming up next, mandatory minicamp kicks off later on today. Nick and I will go through what it is that we're looking to see from the team, including why maybe some of the success of the young quarterbacks is making us concerned about other positions on the roster. We got that coming up for you next. We continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's get it, Who Dat Nation. It's no surprise that with mandatory minicamp kicking off later on today, that the quarterbacks are back in focus. But I want you to hear what Nick had to say about not only the quarterbacks performing, but the concerns that maybe it's raising elsewhere on the roster.
It's very weird because the thing I want to see and the thing I don't want to see are one to succeed, the other one has to fail. So the thing I don't want to see is I don't want to see the cornerbacks in the secondary and whoever's on the field in 7-on-7s keep getting cooked at like a 90% completion rate, which is what we've seen in the practices we've been out there. That's terrifying. Like, that is not a good place to be. As good as I think Spencer Rattler has looked and Shough has looked at times, I don't think that an NFL defense should be giving up like 90% completion rate to those two guys. So once everybody's on the field, I want to see it get a little bit harder to complete a pass. When Tyron's out there, when Demario's out there consistently, I just want to see that improve a little bit. But the only way to have optimism going into the summer is for the quarterbacks to keep looking good. And I just want to see that continuation of it. I wanted to see Rattler keep doing what he's doing. Like, he's getting the ball out quickly, and it's not just like checkdowns. He's attacking the seams aggressively. Ball looks good going up the seams. Like, he's looked good going down the field. But also he's taking what the defense is giving him when he needs to. But it isn't just check down city. As for Shough, like, I just want to see maybe, you can kind of see him thinking when he's out there playing a little bit, and just to see it speed up a little bit. I thought the second OTA, the ball was coming out really fast for him, and that's when he looked his best. Overall, though, practice 1, practice 3 that we've seen, it's been a little bit slow at times, and just to see it speed up a little bit. I don't expect them to be all the way there, but I just want it to just look like there's steady progress. And if we see those two things, I'll feel good about it. I don't think the battle's won or lost right now. I don't think anyone's really taken a big lead. I think Spencer looks far ahead because he's had a year in the system, and he should. Shough's going to come back in training camp and hopefully look way different than he does now. But I think he looks really good right now too. So just keep doing things that make us go, wow. And I think we're in good shape going into the summer, and we'll be able to have positive things to talk about and not feel bad. But,
Yes.
2 bad practices here and it's in the dumps. And I don't want to see that either once you get all the secondary guys back on the field.
Yeah, I liked your point about Spencer Rattler looking more comfortable with the year of experience, because the other thing is, like, not only does he have a year of NFL experience already, but he had 370 more passing attempts than Tyler Shough did in college. He also played 628 more snaps than Tyler Shough did in college. So literally there's a massive, I shouldn't say massive, but there's like 2 years worth of an experience gap in between these guys in terms of actual snaps taken, not just years spent on a team or anything like that. And so I think we can see that so far with the comfort that Spencer Rattler already has. I'm with you about the positive and negative thing. I have it. It's a little bit different for me. I want to see these quarterbacks continue to stand out, but I don't want to see a quarterback pull ahead because the other one has fallen off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's that the defense starts to step up a little bit more, or that, they add something that kind of evens the playing field, whatever it might be, that these guys continue to find ways to perform, even if it's not at a 90% rate. They find some way to perform, just like you said, but that one of them doesn't pull away only because the other one has fallen off.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And you want someone to win it too. You don't want someone just to at the end, well, got to pick one of them,
Yeah, right. Well, I guess we'll go with this one.
Don't want it to feel like that either. Yeah, you want to feel like someone ran off with it and you feel good about how they got it. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So what else are you looking for when it comes to mandatory minicamps here as we kind of move into the next phase of the offseason, going beyond the quarterback spot?
Obvious one is just like nobody gets hurt. Like that's just the biggest thing about these next few days. Go through it clean, feel good about it. The secondary is just really, really a huge issue for me right now. I'm not like sounding an alarm because it's OTAs and it's a couple of practices and a few guys aren't out there, but I really am legitimately a little bit worried about it. It's just every time you look down, it's like, man, oh wow, there's only like 1 incomplete pass today. There's 2 today. And then it's just like, this shouldn't be happening like this. And it is 7-on-7s and there is no pass rush. But the thing is there aren't a lot of slow decisions happening, especially on the Rattler side of it. And he's the one going against the first team. Like my biggest thing with him is like, it really is on rhythm. It's like 3-step drop, back foot hits, balls out, 5-step drop, bang, out. It's happening very, very quick. His processing looks like really improved from last year. I got to see like some pass defense here. I need to feel good about somebody. Like I want to see like Kool-Aid break up a couple passes. Like I just want to see that. And look, again, like you're missing guys. Your starting safety isn't out there. DeMario, it's 7-on-7s. There's a lot of space. Like it is different, but I just don't ever remember 3 practices where guys just dominated the way they have like this. And we covered Drew Brees. Like, it's just like there weren't a lot of like 8 for 8, 7 for 8 days. Like something would happen, the ball would hit the ground, and I want to see just like a little bit. I want the quarterbacks to keep winning because the Saints need a quarterback really bad. So success is good, but want to see a little bit of failure, like forced failure, just so I know that the defense is okay. Because my biggest issues with the team outside of court, like I am worried about the defense as a whole. Like I don't know if they have the talent there right now, and just something that made it feel like a little bit more possible heading into the summer would be great.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think you're right. Like there's a balance that you want to strike to where it's not just one overwhelmingly, slapping around the other and all those other pieces. I think one of the other things that I'll be watching closely, and again, no surprise, it's pretty clear like what the big stories around New Orleans are right now. But the offensive line, right? And I know we can only see so much in terms of what it is. There's no pads. It's not full contact. It's not all those things. But there is something about the confidence of Trevor Penning that is easy to see, both on the field, in the locker room, off the field, stuff like that. Him talking to us last week, talking about the transition to the inside and everything. Like it has seemed to fit him well. I just want to see if it remains consistent or if they start rotating people in. What does that mean? All those other pieces. I think it's just continuing to watch that offensive line come together. When I spoke with TJ Paganetti, the run game coordinator, a couple of weeks ago, one of the things that I asked was like, what stands out to you about your starting 5? And he said that they all get along. and that they all actually like each other. And that is important because that makes these guys play for one another and all those other things. But I am, kind of itching just to see, like, what does this unit actually look like out on the field? We're only going to see so much of that, if at all, during minicamp, but I'm scrounging for whatever we can learn watching them on the field there, because I think it's a value, because I think there's still some big question marks there.
Can't put this one really same basket. Like, we probably aren't going to see a whole lot on it. But I refuse to believe that there isn't a coaching staff in the NFL that can't get something out of Kendre Miller. Like, I just refuse to believe 100%. That you can go through 3. There has to be like 6 plays. Like, this dude, like, you put him out there, even when he like isn't assignment sound, you put him on the field and he runs the ball. Like, I see him get 9-yard gains. Like, someone can't just get. I don't know. I talked to him last week. Like, he seems confident. He says he's picked everything up. He's on the field. He's healthy. He's going through it. He feels like he knows what he's doing. All that's positive. Hopefully it stays on that path. But, like, let's say it doesn't and things get messy. Like, there has to be a package of plays that works for him. Like, he is the most athletic looking person on a field of athletes. Like, I just can't get my head around the idea that he can't do anything to help a team. I want to see what they have in store for him.
Kendre Miller season. It's got to be Kendre Miller season.
It's always is for me. It always is for me, man. Yeah, always is for me, man. I'll always believe. I'm going down with the ship at this point. Like, I've been leading the charge for 3 years. Like, I'm staying with it.
All right, family. One more big thank you to Nick Underhill over at NewOrleans.football. You can follow him at Nick_Underhill, and of course, check out all of the great work from him, Mike, John, Brandon, and everybody else over at NewOrleans.football. Coming up in tomorrow's episode, we'll give you everything you need to know from the first day of mandatory minicamps, which quarterbacks stood out, what happened with Trevor Penning, is it truly Miller time? We'll dive into all of it in tomorrow's episode. We appreciate you very much, as always, for making us a party day, part of your routine, for saying yes to me on the show. If you see me, please say hi. If you need anything else around your New Orleans Saints in between these episodes, make sure you follow me on your favorite social media at Ross Jackson, NOLA. Hit me up. Know what the family's doing. How you living. Let me know how your mom and them. And trust Who Dat Nation. I'll holla at you.